Hello, everyone. I've decided to give kind of group feedback, or save some effort in responding to your Jonas review questions for the burden and blessing of mortality. So I'll just walk through the questions, tell you what I had in mind when I asked them, give you a sense of what kind of answers I was looking for. But and so you should compare that to what you said to see if you're on the right track. And in any particular case, if you're not clear about what the proper answer is to a question, then please contact me, email me, or call me. But I thought rather than do a lot of repetitive things in giving feedback like I was in the first section, I would just do this again. But please do contact me whenever you have something you want to clear up. It's absolutely okay. So the first question is really the basic idea of the essay. That is that the word mortality has two basic senses. That to be mortal means that you can die, that it's a possibility to die at every moment, that we always live on the edge of death, but that it also has the sense that we will die, that death is not only something that's a potential at every moment, but it's also inevitable, that it will happen. So the two senses are the can die and the will die, or the must die. The first one is the burden in Jonas's mind. That is, it's the burden of being mortal that we live with the ever-present possibility of death. And he claims that the ultimate inevitability of death, that is, that death will eventually come as a certainty, is the blessing. Number two, how does the ontology of organisms differ from that of other things? Now, ontology, of course, is a fancy philosophy word that has to do with being. So when we ask what is the ontology of organisms, we ask what kind of being, what is their manner of being, organisms, or what kind of being are they? So how does the ontology of organisms, their manner of being, differ from that of other things? And I suppose other things are inanimate things that are not biologically alive. And Jonas says that the ontology of the organism is that its being is its own doing. That is, that it is only insofar as it does. So the organism's being is a kind of activity rather than just sort of sitting there. That it has to continually make an effort through work and effort of some sort to continue to be what it is. And this is how it differs from non-living things. A sort of dynamic aspect of the ontology of the organism. And he equates this being as its own doing with the fundamental biological activity of metabolism. The need to constantly take things in from the environment, transform them into the kind of materials we need to live, and to then expel waste. Number three, in what sense is the being of an organism a task? Well, it's a task insofar as it's an effort. That is, this is, I think, much of the burden of this aspect of mortality is that the being of an organism is a task. It is something that has to be continually worked at in order to maintain itself as what it is. It's a consistent denial of death, a perpetual putting off or deferring of death. And this means that the organism has to continue to do in order to be. And number four, do you agree with Jonas's conclusion that our mortality can be viewed as a blessing? Why or why not? Obviously, that is an open-ended opinion question, but the important thing, in order to answer a question like that, you have to know what his reasons are for viewing mortality as a blessing, and remembering that it's the inevitability of death rather than the constant possibility of death that he sees as the blessing. And I think that the first step in that is to see that he would think that to be immortal, to be deathless, would actually be a kind of a curse. We would never really want that. Why not? Well, his first reason, of course, is civilizational or social, in that we have to die in order to have new people, and in order for our civilization to maintain its vigor or its creativity or its continually making progress and innovating and having new ideas, he claims, there have to be new people. And if we didn't have mortality, we would have to stop having new people come into the world because there'd be no resources or room for them. That's the argument, at least. Of course, that's on the social level. On the individual level, he gives some reasons too why he thinks that immortality would be a kind of a curse on the individual level, and that having to do with the idea that we have limits on how much memory and experience we can assimilate. So we would either have to forget everything about our past in order to make new memories, and therefore we basically would become new persons, or else we would have to stop assimilating new experience, and no one would want to live like that, just live totally in the past. And also some ideas about how, as the world changes, we become progressively more alienated and foreign to the world. He talks about his own experience with art and how he can't relate to the new forms of art, things like that. So in order to answer a question like that properly, number 4, you can say whatever you want, give your reasons for why you agree with his conclusion or not. But for a question like that, it's not a simple opinion question, right? Yeah, it has to be an informed opinion question where you show that you can evaluate the actual reasoning that Jonas engages in to conclusion.